Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode
39
of the Bandwagon Hockey Podcast as I frantically searched my phone to try to find our recent episodes to see which one this is in our sequence of episodes. Ryan, it is Monday night. I've got the Leafs and Tampa game on right in front of me. Tampa went down 1-0 early and scored after Toronto scored. They scored 36 seconds later, followed by 3 more goals in the period to go into the first intermission up 4-1. Samsonov's yanked after 13 shots on net. But Ryan, how are you?
Oh, I'm a little tired today, not gonna lie. Just got home from 9 straight hours of classes, so that was a bit of a grind, but I'm much more excited to now talk some hockey. How are you doing, sir?
I'm not good, actually. I had a little toe situation.
Oh yeah.
Long story short, dropped a weight on my toe last winter, and it didn't really it didn't hurt my toe that much. Like it hurt. But the worst part was that it kind of just split the nail a little bit, got a little bit infected, and I thought it would just grow out. Didn't want to do anything during the baseball season because I kind of waited. I was hoping it would grow out. It didn't. And then May came and it was baseball season, but it wasn't hurting me or affecting me. So I was like, I'm just going to wait it out. Finally came time to deal with it. And I am in a lot of pain today. So let's talk some hockey. We
ignore the toe pain.
we grind through the pain.
I'm tired. You have a broken toe. It's all over.
It's all over the place. I also drove home with it, which was an experience.
Oh boy.
It was crazy. Like, imagine half your foot being numb, your right foot, and driving on the highway.
Oh no.
It was absurd. Like, I was like, wait, am I braking right now?
How fast am I going?
Yeah. Because you know how you can subconsciously control how fast you're going just with your foot? I had to watch the speedometer to see how fast I was going. I was like, I don't know how far down I'm pushing this thing. So not allowed. All right, Ryan, it's been a week. It's Monday. We didn't do one yesterday because of my situation. I was home and I forgot all of my stuff in order to do a pod. Excuse the flashing. Is that distracting?
Not really.
Okay, just because I've got my monitor next to me with the game on. We haven't discussed the NHL in a week, and oh my god, it's looking like it's going to be another Sens pod because holy shit. First round draft pick that the Sens have to sacrifice in one of the next 3 drafts. I still don't know if it's fully clear if it has to be their own or if it can be the Detroit /bot. It does have to be their own pick.
It does, yep. That's been confirmed.
Wow. That's so brutal, man.
It's tough.
Oh my god, I thought they could have just been I thought they could have just made the DeBrincat trade a net zero and just yeet the 27th overall pick that they were going to get from Boston this year or some shit. Oh my god.
I mean, that would have really been a lucky break for them though. They
would have been, but in looking at it, that's turning DeBrincat into a net zero. So either way, it sucks. Either way, it sucks so hard. I don't know. I think there's still hope that it gets rescinded a little bit to a second over time, maybe. But
yeah, that's my hope too, because you have 3. My thought process is you now have 3 years to kick this thing down the road if you want to. That means you have 3 years to get in Bettman's ear and tell him how pissed off you are about this. Yeah. I know people were kind of drawing comparisons to the Ilya Kovalchuk situation where they were penalized and then a new owner came in and that got bumped down because of that.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked to see the same thing with Andlauer coming in now. I don't know. Bettman's just so stuck in his ways that I could see it being no, fuck you. You gotta.
But they've done it before.
Yeah, but that was Lou getting. That was Lou getting in his ear too.
That's true. But after that press conference, you can kind of see Andlauer being dude,
yeah,
you just worked me for a year. drove the price of this team up by however many hundreds of millions, up to almost $1 billion, with a whole bunch of, like, let's be honest, there were some unserious candidates in that bidding process.
Oh yeah.
Nico Sparks was not buying this team.
Not a chance.
I don't care what you say. That wasn't happening.
No.
But they used that and just drove the price up on Andlauer. And I mean, there's only 32 spots, right? And in total in pro sports in North America, there's 124 ish, and 124, not including like MLS or whatever. But it's just it's crazy to treat your new owner this way, because like I get it. A lot of people are like, well, because the big quote from Andlauer was, "Why I'm inheriting this is beyond me," and it's like, well, it's your franchise. But the thing is that the situation was very much belittled to him. Like someone like minimized the crap out of it, like, oh, it's no big deal, like you're fine. But someone recently put out a thing that said the average like money value of a first round pick, regardless of who the player becomes, because like, oh my god, imagine if it's like imagine the 25th overall pick having been stripped from Boston in 2014, like no David Pastrnak, right? So it obviously varies, but the average first round value of a first round pick, if you were to, let's say, like buy a first round pick from a team, is $20 million. So that's $20 million that Gary Bettman was just like, here, we'll tack that onto your team price, let alone the amount of options that takes away from you in terms of trade and team building and etc. And like, you'd almost, like in Andlauer's position, you'd almost rather just get a $20 million fine.
Yeah, 20 million might be
not, but like
if it was an option,
when you're spending 950 million on a team, it's like, oh, I'd rather just spend 970 than be handicapped by this situation for the next 3 years, give or take.
I'll put it this way: if he had the option of being penalized a first round pick or the $2 million that Chicago was fined, I think he would easily take the $2 million.
I don't even think that's a question, because the $2 million fine is a pittance to an NHL owner, especially one who just bought his team for $1 billion, and I'm pretty sure is one of the most wealthy owners in the league. Because I think a lot of owners are not doing as well as Michael Andlauer is financially, which isn't saying much. They're all billionaires, but still, or 100 millionaires. But where were we going with this? Like, where do we want to start? Where do we want to start unpacking? Do we want to start with the punishment? Do we want to start with the press conference? Do we want to start with like Dorion being fired immediately? Like, where do we want to start? There's so much to impact, and this is pretty much going to be all we talk about today.
Let's not start with the punishment, because I think it's widely considered that it's just ridiculously high. Like, I don't know how much we need to unpack that, but did you see Dorion getting removed that quickly once you found out about the penalty? Did you think that was going to happen?
I honestly, like, everyone knew it was coming. Because the press conference was the next day, right?
Yeah. Once the penalty officially came out,
maybe it was a bit quicker of a turnaround than I was expecting. But I also think that you can maybe credit that to the fact that there's a 4-day break between games. So there were no games. So, like, they weren't that busy, so they could hold a news conference at whatever it was, 3:00 on a Wednesday, I think it was. And they hadn't played since like Sunday or Saturday, and then their next game was the following day, the Thursday, I believe. No, I think, like, I expected Dorion to be fired as soon as possible. I just didn't realize as soon as possible meant like the day of.
Yeah,
because he was fired the day of, and they announced it the next day. Like, it was a wicked turnaround.
Yeah, like I definitely expected it. Like, once you heard it was for sure it was going to be a first round pick, I expected him to be gone. Like you said, I'm not sure I expected it the next day, and it still felt like so surreal. Once I had come to terms with it, it was like, oh, okay, this guy is just not here making the day-to-day decisions anymore. Like when Greg and Kastelik got hurt, I was like, okay, who's coming up? Oh, this is the first time in 7 years that's not a Pierre Dorion decision.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So, like, it's little things like that now. It's going to be interesting to see how it's run moving forward.
I'm also really interested to know, because this is a big story in, I mean, maybe not now because it's dealt with, but this was a massive story in both Vegas and Anaheim.
Yeah.
And honestly, across the league, you don't see many trades go through that get
Rescinded.
blocked
Yeah.
by a no trade, because usually they don't get that far, right? Like if there's a no trade, then you just don't deal with that team. But because this was such a unique situation, it ended up following through to trade completion, and then the player's agent was like, "Wait, what? No, like he's not going to Anaheim. He's on his no trade." But I'm interested to know, because like Vegas and Anaheim, they don't give a fuck about the Sens organization. Like they don't give a shit about Pierre Dorion or the PR surrounding him, or if he gets a job in the future. So I'm really curious, because I don't think it's going to come from the Ottawa side, but I'm really curious to know exact details of the trade call, if those details ever come to light, because I think this is just straight up Dorion either neglecting and like being like, no, he doesn't have a no trade clause, because he either forgot or just didn't remember that he gave him one. Because like he signed Dadonov to the contract less than a year prior, right? Like they signed Dadonov to a 3-year contract as an unrestricted free agent and then traded him the following offseason. So like this is within a year, plus or minus maybe a month or two. Same GM trading him. And let's be real, this isn't a GM that makes a lot of big signings in his tenure prior to, the last 2 or 3 seasons. So like he either lied through his teeth about whether or not there was a no trade clause, or he just straight up messed up. And I'm kind of thinking it's not unrealistic that he just lied.
Yeah, it's my guess that he probably just, I don't know if lied is the right word, but just like gave an answer without knowing. Right?
Which he tends to do, right? Like in press conferences and stuff, like that's how he is.
Yeah, like from what I've heard too, like he was the only one from the Ottawa side on this call, which is very, very unusual.
So
very unusual too. Like that's not how this normally goes. Like it's either normally a GM with an AGM or 2 AGMs or something. Like there's not just normally one person. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the fact that he was the only one in there, and I think I'm not sure the timeline on this, but it was not long beforehand they just let go of an AGM or just parted ways with an AGM somehow. Anyways, they just lost somebody from their staff. So I'm guessing that Pierre Dorion took it alone because he kind of had to took it alone. And then he was asked, does this player have a no trade or no trade list? Yeah. And he was like, I haven't seen one.
Some shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's my guess. I
really want details about this to come out, because
well, we also heard Michael Andlauer straight up said the organization was neglectful, so it had to be something along those lines. Like he received a 73-page report or whatever on it.
It's
like
insane.
I don't
like what is on that. Like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
It can't just be Dorion saying I don't know.
I really hope that whoever, like, I don't think it would have been Verbeek at that point, or no, it wouldn't have been Verbeek. It would have been the Vegas GM, McPhee or McCrimmon, one of them, or both. They probably had both on the trade call because Vegas is competent. But it would be fascinating, because have you seen the video about the Tyler Seguin trade call from Boston to Dallas? It's so cool. It's
very cool. Yeah, I love seeing that stuff.
Like trade calls, behind the scene type stuff is so cool. I don't know if we'll ever see that, because this Dadonov trade was not a big deal. Like it was Dadonov for a third and Nick Holden. Like that's not a blockbuster by any means. But just hearsay, like Ian Mendez get in a room with the Vegas Golden Knights GM and just like be like, what was said? And I'd probably tend to believe whatever they say, because they already got their first round pick stripped from the franchise, and they kind of got their what would you say? Like they got cleaned of any blame. Restored, they got their reputation restored, because they got a lot of shit for like trying to trade Dadonov to a team that wasn't on his no trade, and everyone kind of blamed Vegas. And it was like, wait a second, Vegas didn't know there was a no trade. Do you remember the backlash that Vegas got at the time?
Yeah, at the time, peak when they were viewed as like, oh, this team doesn't give a shit. They'll get rid
Oh
of
yeah.
anybody to bring in a star or just like whatever fits their roster best at the time. And that was perfectly fitting the narrative. It was okay, we'll ship this guy, who cares where, to get
Yeah.
rid of his cap hit.
Yeah.
I think it was to bring back somebody off IR, right?
Yeah, it was
That was the
a
goal.
player and Ryan Kessler.
Yeah, but I
So
think
it
the
was
goal of the trade was to bring somebody back from IR to push for the playoffs because that was the year they
well,
missed.
well, yeah. So it was Dadonov in a second to Anaheim in
Mm-hmm.
exchange for some inconsequential contract, but also Ryan Kessler, who was on LTI, retired. Similar to
Yeah.
how they went and got Shea Weber in exchange for the Dadonov contract from Montreal. Like they wanted
Mm-hmm.
Vegas was trying to get even more cap space under LTIR, and Anaheim
Yep.
was trying to get a second round pick.
But if I remember correctly, I think they had somebody on LTIR that they wanted to activate and they couldn't because they didn't have the
Oh,
space.
okay, I don't remember that. They had a lot of $5 million players at the time, though, so like I believe you
Mm-hmm.
because like thinking back, they would have had Dadonov at 5, Riley Smith at 5, Jonathan Marchessault at 5, William Karlsson is in and around there. Like
In
they had
around
a
there,
lot
yeah.
of players in that salary range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that being part of it, but could be wrong.
I'm trying to think of the timeline, like when they acquired Eichel.
Like, would it have been Stone? Would they have been trying to bring back Stone off IR?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Cap Friendly should implement like a day by day,
Of you being on LTIR.
or no, like a day by day screen capture of what rosters look like, so you can go back to like the day Dadonov was supposed to be traded to Anaheim and see what the roster looked like on that day. It'd be kind of
That would be cool.
Cool thing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a mess. I actually didn't realize until just now that it had to be actual one of Ottawa's own first round picks. I was really hoping they could just like drop the Boston
That's
one or
typically the
whatever.
ruling, though.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Man, that's crazy. God, my God, like this team just can't get out of its own way. Yeah, I don't know. Dorion's probably not going to get another job for a long time, and it definitely won't be anywhere near at the prestige of GM. It'll be as a scout or an amateur scout or whatever. Like he might just not, because this is so bad for reputation, unless some sort of truth comes out about the call. But like, it's all Dorion's fault. He was fired the next day that this came down. So like, it's very clear that it was on Dorion.
Maybe somebody gives him a chance, as like you said, on the amateur scout side, where he's not the one calling the shots, because obviously it was way over his head for a long time here in Ottawa.
Yeah.
Probably since the day he took over. Like he got the job because Brian Murray passed away, basically.
Yeah.
Like
what was he before he became GM? Was he AGM?
AGM, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And then before that, he was head of amateur scouting, I think.
And
I don't know if he was with Ottawa, but I know he was with Montreal.
And it's hilarious too, because it's like he was given so much time with this franchise, and he did such a poor job. Like for as much credit as people give him for locking up players and this and that, I could be the GM of a team and throw $64 million at a guy who's had 80 points across 2 seasons in his career, Tim Stützle. Like he had 29 in his rookie year, which was shortened from the COVID year. It was in the bubble, like the North Division or whatever. And then the following season, he had like 50 points. So he gave $64 million to a guy with 80 points in his career. Like, obviously that's a bet, but like, I don't know, like, okay, like good job. Jake Sanderson had one season in his career and gave him $64 million. Josh Norris had one good season in his career and gave him $64 million. Like, when you give players $60+ million after proving something for less than 80 games, like, they're going to take it. And so I get that these bets have worked out, but it's not like he was some rocket scientist getting players to take less or some shit.
Yeah, well, I think it was...
And his roster building has just been terribly inefficient for like 6-7 years.
Yeah, well, I think it was Ian Mendez who said that his entire tenure will be like summed up by big swings, either hitting or completely missing.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, I feel like none of his moves were right down the middle. It was either it's a home run or it's flaming garbage.
Or a literal accident that ends up being a
Yeah.
home run. Like his masterpiece was an accident.
I guess, yeah. I would consider those contracts his masterpiece. I know you're not giving him much credit here, but I'll give him the credit for those.
I'm saying the Erik Karlsson trade is his
I know.
masterpiece, and that was an accident.
Yeah, I guess. But I would consider
that's
the
how
contracts.
I see it.
I would consider the contracts he's leaving here as his masterpiece.
I guess, but I think any GM signs those.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. Like,
then why don't they do it?
Pardon?
Then why don't they do it?
They do. Every team has their core locked up.
Teams. There's players that demand the bridge.
Like who?
I don't know. You saw Matthew Tkachuk do it.
I guess, but he hadn't done shit prior to that.
Others do it. I don't know.
I guess it's kind of the same thing. I don't know. I just have a hard time giving credit to a guy who literally was stuck in the mud for 7 years with a franchise, and it was his own doing.
Yeah, I'm not saying he was that very good at his job, but I'm saying his swings were either home runs or flaming piles of poop.
Piles of poop, yeah. That's so true.
Like there's the Pajot trade, and then there's the Hoffman trade.
There's the Karlsson trade, and there's the Stone trade, and the Duchesne trade, and the Matt Murray trade, and I don't know. I don't know. He's just He's a goofy GM. It's hard to take him seriously. He said stupid stuff all the time. I was surprised when Bobby Ryan said that he didn't like playing for him.
I mean, I kind of get it. He's just a goofy guy.
Yeah, I guess in that sense, like he just hard to take your boss seriously. I guess I don't know.
It's like not many people liked playing for him. I think it's because of his communication skills. He just doesn't know how to like properly. I don't know, run an NHL front office.
Yeah, speak. He just said weird stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Well, one thing's for sure, Ryan. Pierre Dorion likes to make his bets, and whether they turned out or didn't, he liked to make them. And he probably wasn't making them too often with DraftKings because I don't know what the penalties are for a general manager betting on sports, but we know what the penalty is for a player. But anyway, the NFL season is going strong, and DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking new customers up with an offer that's even stronger. Bet $5 on any game this week to score $200 instantly in bonus bets. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of a sweetener offer every game day this October. Ryan, yesterday was a blockbuster day in the NFL. Next week absolutely sucks. However, the one game I have my eye on is Houston at Cincinnati. Cincinnati is favored to win this game by 7 points or more. So the Bengals have a line of -7, and the over-under is currently set at 46.5. CJ Stroud put up 5 touchdowns and 470 passing yards yesterday in his rookie season. He's going to win Rookie of the Year in a landslide. He's going to get maybe even the odd MVP vote if Houston can get into the playoff picture. And Houston's rolling. Cincinnati's also rolling, but I think Houston keeps this one within 7 points, and I'm smashing the over of 46.5 points because both quarterbacks are absolutely firing on all cylinders. Get in on the game day greatness. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets when you bet $5 on the NFL. That's code THPN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Toronto just scored. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please pay responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. 21 plus age age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football. Terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms and responsible gaming resources. I think Matthew Nye's got his second of the game.
Yeah, that's what the score's saying.
That sure is. Wow, good job, Matthew.
Woo-hoo.
All right. What else on The Senators. Oh my god, dude. There's so much. They also played another.
Well, the entire
game
team is
here on
hurt.
Saturday. The whole team is hurt. I don't know. I'm really excited to see who they bring in. I don't want to say apathy has already kicked in. Like, we're 10 games in. Relax, Mitch. But like,
It
just
does
feels
feel like it. This has
just
been, yeah.
No, you go.
This has been the most checked out I've been 10 games
It's absurd.
in like 6 years, and I'm like one of the most diehard fans you'll come across. I've been so like frustrated that I can't put my emotions into this team. Like that last game, I stopped paying attention halfway through.
Yeah.
It's the same shit over and over again. No
Yeah.
sticks are being taken in the slot. The dump and no chase. It's just not effective. DJ Hockey is it's driving me nuts. Yeah. How are you feeling about the team, Mitchell?
I kind of have to care.
Oh yeah.
I have to care because
I said I don't care, but I'm yelling at you right now, and that's
well,
how
no.
much
So
I
my
actually
thing is
do
like
care.
I don't want to care. I'd rather just sort of like watch other teams, check the Sens scores, and if
just
they
see
start
when they
playing
inevitably
decent,
lose.
if they want to start playing decent hockey, then I'll give them the time of day. Or if they fucking make a change instead of running it back with a losing coach for the 5th year in a row. How many years has he coached this damn team?
This is his 5th, yeah.
Like, fuck off. How many coaches get 5 years of runway during a rebuild? When do you ever see a coach through the rebuild and then on the build? That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Not very
happen.
often.
John Cooper didn't even do that. Like, Tampa was good when they hired John Cooper-ish. Like, they had Stamkos, they had Hedman, they had all those guys. DJ Smith came in when Brady came in, or 1 year after. Like, did Brady play under
Guy
Boucher for a year? Okay.
Yeah.
But like, Brady's in his 6th season. That's a waste, man. That's such a waste. Thomas Chabot's in his 7th season. Like,
yeah, Chabot has never been in the playoffs.
What a waste! And like the way the season's going, Tim Stützle is going to be in his 5th season next year and never even sniff the playoffs. And all of a sudden, like, I think people were expecting this team to be somewhat decent during Jake Sanderson's entry-level contract. Nope.
That's done.
That's done. That's been done. Or it's going to be done. Tim Stützle's entry-level contract, see ya.
Done.
Like, it's insane. And it's the most inefficient rebuild I think I've ever seen. I'm trying to think. Buffalo, maybe. But Buffalo had so many... Buffalo was a shit show for 10 years, right? And so they sucked. They drafted Jack Eichel. They drafted Sam Reinhart the year before. They sucked. And then the whole Jack Eichel thing happened. They drafted Dahlin. He sucked right away. Like, you're not drafting a defenseman and then getting good right away. I'm sorry. If you draft a defenseman first overall, you're not going to reap the benefits for a few years. And they are now, obviously, but guess who's not there? And like, they just kept running into themselves over and over, but they were drafting 1st, 2nd, 3rd overall, whatever. Ottawa wasn't even really getting those high picks because they were trading them away. Like, they got Brady in 2018. They had Chabot from 2015, but that's kind of like whatever. They missed the playoffs 1 year, drafted a guy 18th overall, and whatever. They go to the Eastern Conference Final, lose, whatever. Oh wow, Toronto just scored again. Is that not? No, it was Matthews. They go to Eastern Conference Final. They flame out the next year after trading for Duchesne. They draft Brady Tkachuk 4th. But then they trade it in the Duchesne trade. They trade away either their 2018 or 2019 pick. So then they finish dead last in Brady Tkachuk's rookie year. They don't have their 1st round pick. That's crazy. That's not a thing that should ever happen. So all of a sudden, Colorado gets Bowen Byram. You know what would be really nice to have right now? Bowen Byram. I love Jake Sanderson. But if you have Bowen Byram, you use your 5th overall pick on a different player. And I don't know, like, obviously, it seems as of right now that Ottawa got the two best players from that draft. But who knows? In a different development situation, like if you get, I don't know who else went in that draft. I'm blanking right now, but like, you know what I mean? Like it's just constant.
Yeah.
And then
I really wanted Raymond at the time.
yeah,
I remember
Raymond.
that.
He went fourth, so that's kind of tough.
Yeah.
But like whoever went sixth, Drysdale went sixth, seventh. I think might have been like Holtz or something. So I don't know. Maybe like those Sanderson's obviously better than those guys, but who knows in a different development situation. Or you have Byram, Sanderson, Shabbat, whatever, and then you don't have to go trade for Chikrin.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can use that pick on something else, or after you actually fucking draft the player because your team's not ready to win. Like,
yeah.
Here's the other thing. I love Jacob Chikrin. That was not the correct player to go trade a first round pick for.
No.
He doesn't fit on this team. I love him. He is the second.
Well,
he might be the best defenseman on this team. Him and Sanderson, whatever. But like, given the assets that you gave up for him, you need to go get a player that actually fits your roster.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right? Like,
yeah, he was the best player available.
But
definitely not the best fit. You're right.
But when you have this core locked in and you've got this many pieces kind of set on your roster for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you gotta go get a guy that fits your team. And that's kind of what the issue was with the DeBrincat, is that they had too many left wingers. So like Brady Tkachuk was left wing 1, so then DeBrincat doesn't play the right side for
it's
whatever
still
reason.
Kind of the problem.
Pardon?
It's still kind of the problem.
Yeah, it's still kind of...
Wait, they used to have too many left wings?
Well, no, they just have so many left-handed shots or guys who play the left side. Because like Batherson wants to be on the left.
Now they have too many right wingers.
Yeah, but like so like Brady's left side, DeBrincat came in left side. Batherson's preference is left side. I'm pretty sure.
No,
is it not? Oh no,
he offered to play left side this year
because of Tarasenko.
Yeah,
who likes to play right side even though he's a lefty.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was getting that mixed up. But it's just the constant inefficient roster building. We haven't even gotten to the 2021 draft yet. Yeah. That draft is like out the window. That's a whole year of drafting that you just kind of didn't do. Because Tyler Boucher could be dead for all we know. Like he had a groin tweak or something at the start of the year and he's been out for 2 months.
Still hurt, not playing in Belleville.
Yeah, like what is that?
We were told it was no big deal. Kind of like the Norris thing, but he still hasn't played.
Like Boucher was drafted 10th overall. Like that's kind of a thing that should be monitored.
And then there was a 12th for Chikrin and a 7th for DeBrincat, and now a first out the window.
Yeah.
And.
Yeah. And like, don't get me wrong, the DeBrincat thing, like everyone was excited when they did that, but it was too soon.
Mm-hmm.
It was too soon, and it was for the wrong guy.
In hindsight, absolutely.
In hindsight, it was too soon.
In hindsight, you don't trade for that player because he didn't want to be here.
That's
the other thing.
But there's no way to know that, right?
Well, I think you could probably do a better job digging than they did.
Then yeah, okay. Like I'm down to pile on Dorion, like I just was, so like I'm down.
Now that I have hindsight, that's absolutely my thinking of that trade. You are a fool for not doing your research and figuring out that he doesn't want to be here.
You got to ask Chicago to talk to the player first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if Chicago says no, then you go trade for...
You don't trade a top 10 pick for somebody that you just don't know doesn't want to be here.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is absurd.
Or if they don't want to be there, make sure they have more than 1 year on their contract.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, here's the other thing,
Like at the time, I was praising it because I thought it was a slam dunk contract renewal.
Yeah.
Because of everything that was going on with the team, Brady resigning, it was all rising, everything was good. That's why I was so pumped at the time. And he was like, "I'm out."
Yeah, and it's like, oh
I
shit, like you win some, you lose some, I guess. But then he kind of turns around and does it again with Chikrin. And
it seemed like he was banking on, oh, look at us here in Ottawa. We're such a good vibes.
Yeah.
You sure you want to stay here? Nah, I'm good.
Like when you've played in Chicago before, like I feel like coming to Ottawa is like, right?
Especially when you're playing second fiddle to Brady Tkachuk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then I love Chikrin. Like I really like the player.
Yeah.
But
I'm obsessed with him.
Shabbat's not going anywhere. Sanderson's not going anywhere. And like Does Jacob
Guess who
Chikrin-
else isn't going anywhere for another year?
Yeah, Travis Hamonic. Yeah, so there's that too. But like Ryan, I think an elephant in the room too is so okay. A theme of this past, like, we're gonna end up going an hour again. A theme of
Oh yeah.
what we've just kind of mentioned is wasting entry level contracts, right? Ideally, remember they traded for Chikrin. They were right on the precipice of a playoff spot. They were
Mhm.
right there. They had
Mhm.
him. Did they have him for the Detroit games? I think so. Unless he was hurt. He was hurt for a lot of the down stretch. But like, had that trade happened prior to the Detroit games?
Mhm.
I think
I
so.
think so. I think
So
so.
so they went and got a guy hoping to push for the playoffs. That's awesome. That's great. You missed the playoffs, but it's like, okay, we got 2 more years with this guy at 4.6 million. Bargain for this guy. How's this season looking? And then all of a
One's
sudden,
gone.
next year, you're going into his walk year. What do you do?
Mhm.
What do you do? You
Mhm.
just went through this with DeBrincat. Teams
You
aren't gonna,
want to you want to hand him 8 million, but do you give a sixth player 8 million?
yeah, and
I
it's gonna
don't
be eight
think
and a
so.
half. It's gonna be eight and a
Yeah.
half. He's not
Oh
gonna
yeah.
be. He's not gonna want to, like, Jacob Chikrin
Or
going
is
into
that
his
7 players now? No, 6.
Jacob Chikrin, when he goes into his age 27 season, I want to say, like, that's going to be a guy looking for 8 times 8.5.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He's not going to want to be the third highest paid defenseman on this team. He's going to want to be the highest paid defenseman on this team. He's earned that.
Mhm.
He's,
Yeah.
when healthy, one of the best defensemen in the NHL. But it sucks because he's playing out of position or forcing your $8 million defenseman to play out of position, which, as an $8 million defenseman, you should be able to handle. But that's a different story because he's overpaid.
Yep.
I don't know. Like, imagine John Marino on this team right now.
Yeah.
4.4 third round pick. It was third round pick and Ty Smith for John Marino. It would have been a third in Brandstrom, not even Brandstrom, because Brandstrom's had higher value than Ty Smith at the time. So all of a sudden, like, or imagine you go, like, I don't know if Fiala signs, but like all of a sudden, or you have Kevin Korchinski instead of Alex DeBrincat, and then you don't have to go sign. Like, there's just so many things that he tried to rush out of a rebuild that took him way too long in the first place.
Yeah, that's all it really.
It took him
down to
5 years
eventually.
to build the bare minimum for this roster. He built the core. That's great. Losing a lot and drafting good players is not easy, but it's easier than getting over the hump and winning a cup. Ask Steve Yzerman in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
And Dorion wasn't able to do that, and he tried to do it using premium assets. And then it just doesn't work. And then now you don't have anything to supplement your roster because you didn't use those premium assets on young players. They used them on expensive players or soon to be expensive players. I don't know. It's a mess.
Yep.
It's a mess. I'm excited to see who comes in at GM. Elliot Friedman has given every indication that this is going to be a very highly coveted job, which, I mean, how often do you get a chance to walk into a situation where you're supposedly on the come up?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah,
is there like a trade request clock that we would like turn on for like a Brady Tkachuk or Thomas Chabot? Like, would Thomas Chabot do the city of Ottawa a favor and request a trade after 7 years of missing the playoffs? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think he would, but like,
I don't
gotta
see
think he'd start getting just so frustrated.
Yeah, that's the question though, because like, at what point do you think this is just a culture of losing? Because I don't get the sense that he is that frustrated.
Chabot?
I can see it with Brady, but like, I don't know if I've seen it from Chabot.
Me neither.
Yeah.
And I don't want to start reading like body language.
Yeah, I'm not insinuating he doesn't care.
No,
but like,
I know.
I don't think it's anywhere close to the point where he would request a trade. Is what.
Same with like a Batherson or a Norris. Yeah. Like, do we really see those guys pissed off about losses?
Like, how do you think that they are really going to be that pissed off to just vibe with each other for the next couple of years and make millions?
I don't know. I'm not trying to put words in guys' mouth. I don't like doing the whole like.
But that's how it feels right now.
Unless you're like in a fury and punching shit every time you lose, like these guys.
No.
Like, you gotta, like, an 82-game season, you gotta keep it level. Like, you can't overreact to losses or wins. But
right now, that's how it feels as a fan, because we're seeing the same thing game after game, year after year. Like, nothing is changing.
And I think that stems
Like,
from DJ Smith's post-game comments every game,
for
right?
sure.
Bounces
Yeah.
didn't go our way. It's coming.
Yeah. Liked our
Guys
effort.
played hard.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like how he
Literally, like,
looked. Just the bounces weren't there. Like, fuck off.
the opening line from Brady Tkachuk and Tim Stützle was, "Oh, we didn't get the bounces. They did."
Yeah.
Like, that's absurd. There's
And that's
no accountability
every
with this
game.
group.
It's
Yeah.
every game.
Yeah. Was it Zadorov
Every
in Calgary that straight up apologized to the fans because they were playing like shit?
yeah.
I think it was Zadorov. Anyway, like, that's what accountability looks
And then
like.
Brady calls the fans out, which in
Yeah,
hindsight is like not as bad as it
yeah.
seems, but like that's kind of the difference.
Yeah, it's the vibe. Yeah, it's not a good look.
Because someone pointed out, like Brady Tkachuk doing that is him taking the attention off of the coach, because the coach is going to get run out of town. Brady Tkachuk isn't getting run out of town.
Yeah, if you also have to get the fans pissed at you to protect your coach, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
It's something
Oh,
wrong.
yeah. Brady has 8 goals in 10 games. That's unreal.
And they're all in multi-goal games, eh?
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, he's leading the league in multi-goal games.
That's so funny. Jacob Bernard-Docker's been really good. I hope he
his last couple games have actually been.
I hope he continues playing.
Matt and Paulo is severely underused too.
Oh yeah.
According to the analytics, anyways, he's not super noticeable out there, but analytics say he's been playing great.
I mean, he just needs to be better than one guy, and it's not hard to be better than that guy.
He's better than Hamnick, so
I just need to see. I need to see how a head coach comes in and deploys these players differently. Because
I should never.
Rourke Chartier was on the third line skating today in practice with whoever the fuck, but then Yarventi was skating with fucking Kelly and whoever else is on McEwen.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
He's got to go.
Yeah, I never want to see Tim Stützle dump a puck in again.
No,
I never.
I don't want to see Giroux dump the puck in, and I don't like giving Giroux slack, because I feel like when you're enough of a veteran, you can kind of make your own decisions. But again, so much of it just comes down to coaching, right? Mm-hmm. And Claude Giroux dumped the puck in on a slap shot twice with the net empty. It's absurd.
Yeah, if you're not a bottom six. If you're not a bottom six forward or Brady Tkachuk, I don't want to see you dumping the puck.
Or going off for a change. Those are the only 3 situations. If you don't desperately need a change, or if you're like freaking Mark Kastelik.
Yeah, exactly.
But the other thing too is that if you're Mark Kastelik dumping the puck in, go get it.
Yeah, they don't chase. They just dump. It's dump and dump. That's it. They don't go get it. It's just a turnover every time.
It's so wild. All right, Vegas pounded Colorado 7-0. What was the other game I wanted to highlight? Oh, San Jose gave up 10 goals in back-to-back games. What's their goal differential at? I think it's at -43 through 11 games. -43. They're losing games by an average of 4 goals. This might be the worst team we ever witness in our lifetimes thus far, in our 24th season of observing NHL hockey, I guess. This would be probably the worst. This is the worst so far anyway.
They're on pace for the worst goal differential of all time.
Yeah, which is so funny. Edmonton still sucks. They play Vancouver tonight. I'm so excited to see how it happens in that game. Edmonton might already be done. 2-7-1 is borderline unsalvageable in this
atrocious
3-point league. And I legitimately think that Vancouver can just bury them tonight. Can you imagine if Vancouver? Where is that game tonight? Oh, it's in Vancouver. I was going to say, can you imagine if they go into Edmonton and win 5-1?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh,
that would be crazy.
It's crazy.
Oh, you got more?
Well, I was just going to say, because and then here it is. The stupidest thing about hockey is that Anaheim is on a 6-game heater right now and is 7-4, and in a week and a half, Ottawa could potentially, this is a scenario that could happen. I'm not getting my hopes up, but they could go into Toronto, beat Toronto, come home, beat Vancouver, and then beat Calgary, and then they're off to Sweden at 7-6. Imagine. It's not going to happen, but imagine. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. All right, Ryan, what else you got? Or are we going to wrap this thing?
We can wrap it up, but there's a couple big injury things, I guess, to mention too. Adam Fox out. I can't remember the timeline on that, but he's on LTIR, so it's at least a month.
Really? I didn't see that.
Yep, he's on my fantasy team. I know very well.
All right. Who else is on your fantasy team, Ryan? Who's in net?
Samsonov, who was pulled tonight, so that's wonderful. You want to know who else is on my fantasy team, Mitchell?
Oh no.
One Jack Hughes, who is now out week to week.
Jacques Hughes.
Jack Hughes, which sucks because that could easily affect his Hart ballot.
Yeah, I in the era of McDavid, it's looking like it's not going to be McDavid
Well,
this year.
year of Pedersen, maybe.
That's what I was just about to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
That would be very cool. Backstrom may not play again.
Oh yeah,
this year.
he might not play again this year. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
What's his contract at? He must have
done.
He must have 3 years left on that. Let's see. Washington. Oh no.
Like I just didn't think he was at the end of his career, but like now it's like realizing that he is, and it's weird because him and Ovi were just such a thing for such a long time.
Oh, what? Nick Backstrom signed his deal in 2020? That's crazy. Okay. He's only got 1 year left on his contract after this one. That's insane.
Okay.
I thought he had way more than that. I saw someone mention or put forward the idea of Washington using their cap space. Obviously because they'll have LTIR space with Backstrom probably through next year, because that seems like if you miss a whole season with the hip resurfacing complication, then you're probably just done. Using the space to go and sign Nylander to feed pucks to Ovechkin for the next year and a half.
Yeah.
And
Dean's Swedish bestie.
But then I immediately saw someone put forward the idea of Chicago using their $1 billion in cap space to sign Nylander, and I want that instead.
That's way more fun.
Way more fun. Oh my god.
Way more fun. Nylander, Bedard, Korchinski.
Oh my god. Lucas Reichel.
Just like send it for the playoffs in like 2 years.
Yeah. And probably a top 5 pick this year on top.
Yeah. Yeah.
Frig. It's so sick. Should we mention the Chicago?
Yeah, Chicago.
There was another allegation that was
another player.
Another player
from the same team.
Very swept under the rug again. And I saw someone say, "How is Cole Aldrich not in jail?"
Is he not?
No.
That's crazy.
I don't think so. I've never seen anything.
Yeah,
that says he's in jail.
You're right. Yeah, because I don't think there was ever like a criminal trial. Yeah, I think.
Oh right. Wow, I am. His name's Cole Aldrich, right?
No, it's Brad. I wasn't Brad. I didn't know how long we were gonna spend on this, but it's Brad.
Oh yeah, okay, here it was. I looked up Cole Aldrich and it was all NBA players, and I was like, an NBA player had that name, and I was like, wait, did the NHL just scrub everything?
But now that you say that, I don't think there was ever like a criminal suit.
I think he just got in trouble with the NHL. I don't think he actually got like.
Yeah.
He should be in jail. That's crazy.
Yeah. And like you read some of the shit that's coming out about this, and it's like it's the same stuff that came out last time, but again, and it's just it's just like burn it. You wish you could burn it all ground all over again.
And it's so upsetting too, because it's just gonna keep on falling on the Blackhawks, and they have such a good thing going on the ice, and almost nobody, if not literally nobody from that time, is still with the franchise. Yeah. So I'm kind of hoping, like, oh my god, if Connor Bedard has to answer a question about it, I'm going to lose my mind. That should never even come close to him.
Yeah, and like people are saying...
Do you agree? Like, do you, like...
Well, yeah, no, I do. It's not... I agree that they shouldn't... He shouldn't be attached to this thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Agree there.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm hoping stays happening, is that like literally no connection is made, or obviously connections will be made, whatever. But like, I just don't want Kevin Korchinski or Connor Bedard or Lucas Reichel or Seth Jones, for that matter, to be answering questions relating to the Cole or Brad Aldrich 2010 Blackhawks situation. Like, I would, like, you know what? If you want to ask Kyle Davidson about it, sure. It's not like he's an adult. He's a grown man. He was probably in their organization at the time, whatever. But don't get the players involved, because I could see reporters doing that, and I just don't want to see that, because it's not their fault they were drafted by this franchise. Let's just put it that way.
Yep.
All right, Ryan. I think we can probably wrap there, unless you got one more thing, sounds like.
Yeah, I had one more player on my hurt/unhealthy list that I wanted to bring up because it just came out today, and we would probably like to send him our best, and that is Mr. Anderson in Carolina. Did you see that?
I didn't see what it was, but I saw that blood clot. And they brought in Yaroslav Halak on a PTO.
Yeah, so Freddie Anderson has blood clot, I guess, and is out indefinitely. So that is not a good situation there. I know he's constantly injured, but like I don't know how they found this. I guess it was in a routine medical, and he's just out indefinitely now. I guess
sometimes those can happen with like operations and surgeries and stuff, right?
Yeah,
we've had a lot of those.
True. Yeah. So that was a weird one to see today, and like it's kind of interesting that they would consider bringing in Halak even just to practice, because they have two other competent goalies. But
Kachekov and Ranta.
Yeah,
I thought that was weird too.
Anyways, when there's like so many other teams that could use a goalie, but and Halak is just chilling.
Dallas Boston tonight, Stanley Cup preview ? But no, I'm zeroing in on that Oilers Canucks game. I think that's going to be a hoot, and we'll see what happens down the stretch with this Leafs and Lightning game, because Vasilevsky's back at the end of the month too. So look out, Atlanta. Good thing Ottawa banked up a bunch of points for when that team comes back into the fold. Just kidding. All right.
And Johansson is like what, a 920 something in his absence.
Like relax. Come on.
Third start of the month or something like that. Come on,
screw Tampa, off. Relax.
All right, get out of here.
Matthew Nyes is so good. Toronto sucks. Like they made some bad roster moves this offseason. Kucherov's so sick.